Hi Gemini, I hope that everybody's doing well. Before we get into it, let's set the intention for this to be a space where everyone allows themselves to feel seen and validated, and ultimately for this to be a safe space and a healing space in alignment with everyone's highest good. You may be working on something when it comes to partnerships, relationships that you are very much involved in, relationships that are important to you. Maybe you feel like there's more like maintenance or even work that you're putting into particular interpersonal relationships. It's like you might feel like now's the time, temperance almost just came out, to like really be patient and work through something, and maybe even be trying new things when it comes to a dynamic with someone, or maybe investing more in problem solving. Even it's like something that you know that you want to stick with, and something that you may even find yourself reworking at times is what I was getting for you. We're starting off with justice. Justice is Libra. This is talking about our partnerships, our business ships, our interpersonal relationships, things like that. Especially the ones that we feel a lot of love towards, the ones that we feel close within. I'm hearing something about a pact. Maybe people you have like commitments with. I'm hearing the word trailer. Yeah, it really feels like you coming through in a place where you are being as like lovingly valiant as possible is what's going to help you most here. I'm seeing it be like the more you're tapping into yourself and your higher being, and the more love that you are expressing and like doing things with the intention of love being behind it, that's what's going to help you most at this time. Especially because there may be situations that you're trying to make right for yourself, or even figure out if they're right for you, and doing this with a place of like for your highest good, or for this other person's highest good, or for the highest good of the relationship, things like that. It's the intention that's going to be most helpful in getting to where you're trying to go right now. It's like wanting to make sure that you're speaking honestly, checking when you feel like maybe you want to express something emotionally, and figuring out if that's something that you do want to communicate, or is that something you need to work out on your own before you bring it up to a partner. And even how you want to be working on the delivery as well. Yeah, High Priestess. It really feels like you're doing this from a place of like your highest knowing, going back consecutively and getting important information that you need, especially doing this in a way where it's like you're bringing all of your wisdom to the forefront. This can even be in other social interactions that you're having too. It's like you want to do it from a place of grace and wisdom, and maybe this is different from how you were doing things before. Maybe you feel even at times like you would have come through naturally in a more even abrasive energy, for lack of a better word, and it seems like because you're connected with the High Priestess now, which is like the personification of your wisdom and like your highest self and your higher knowing, because you're doing things in this way, it feels like it's really changing the way that you're going about interacting with people, interacting within dynamics, how you're showing up for yourself, how you're showing up for other people as well. There may be a situation that you feel you need to write, but you may feel like you're having a hard time putting your best foot forward. It's kind of like something is holding you back. You know that something needs to be done to make a situation right, but you still feel hesitant about doing it. You may be feeling a peak of anxiety even when it comes to how you're going to interact with someone, it seems. Maybe because the partnership, the relationship you have with them is important. For some of you, this can be someone you met with the Page of Wands here. This can be even a new love. Or you could even be renewing something with a partnership that you're in. Yeah, for some of you, there's this sense of being like, I want to start something because I'm not satisfied where I am right now, and I'm trying to find out where that fulfillment lies for me. And I feel like it's in starting this new thing, this new project. This can even be a new relationship that you're embracing, but there's a sense of like still feeling anxious to even get started, and maybe you're trying to figure out how to kind of like get your foot in the door. That's kind of what this feels like here. It's something you know you want to be engaging in, and something that potentially you feel excited about because there's a lot of like mystery and unknown, and you feel like this thing could be a right fit for you, but there's still that sense of like maybe even holding yourself back at times. And maybe this is too about, analyzing where you're holding yourself back, because it seems like you could have been even in a more passive role, and now you're being guided to step into a more active role with something that you're doing. Or even if you could have been in a more active role, you may be changing the way that you go about doing that. Because it feels like the way that you're managing something is changing here with Scorpio energy, and the Magician. It's like you want to manifest differently than you had been manifesting before, while having like the creative freedom and liberty to do so. I'm seeing you for sure in the power seat with this. This is interesting. It looks like something's being tempered when it comes to how you jump into things. It's like when you feel excited about something and you feel like that sense of impulsivity kicking in, there's a sense of like sitting back and observing this to understand where that's coming from. It's like whether you're feeling impulsivity where it would like involve someone outside of your relationship, or it comes to you wanting to do something creative and you feel impulsively drawn to do this. It's like wherever you may like leap before looking, there's a sense of actually slowing down. It's like putting the brakes on and wanting to think about this to understand it more completely. I feel like this is trying to understand the motivation behind why you're feeling impulsively that you want to do something, and it seems like you're like investing in this sense of understanding and even a grander consciousness than you had like gained before. So it also feels like an awakening when it comes to understanding and learning yourself too. I feel too like you have a very clear understanding of what's right and wrong for you. It's like where your moral compass lies. There's a very deep understanding that you have in connection with this for you. And there's a sense of maybe something that you're feeling, you feel pulled to maybe like separate from that a little bit, or maybe even go off course. And there's a sense of trying to understand where this is coming from. This can even be a pull to do something differently. It's like maybe you had been taking one road and you had been very comfortable on that road, and now it's kind of like you feel you're getting dragged or pulled even, or attracted onto a different road, and you're trying to figure out like, where is this coming from? Is this the right move for me to make? Do I feel like I'm divinely guided to be starting this? Is this something that I need to think about more? It feels like what helps you answer that question for yourself is you sitting there and being like, am I satisfied? Am I fulfilled with what I'm doing right now? Because I'm seeing the Eight of Cups in the very center of this spread, and it's really working on like where you find your fulfillment and how to really create that for yourself. Because it seems like, again, there may have been something going on where like maybe you were listening to other people, or maybe you just felt like other people were kind of in the driver's seat and you were along for the ride, and now it really feels like you're really expressing your autonomy here. And it feels like you're doing so from a very wise and knowing and understanding place as well when it comes to like where you want to drive the car, so to speak, in relation to like this venture that you're on right now, this trip that you're taking. You may also be tapping more into, like, you could be watching tarot readings more often, or you could be getting a personal reading that's giving you direction, or anything of an esoteric nature that you're getting connected with when it talks about you getting connected, in maybe even a more tangible sense of your intuition and where you're being guided. Especially creatively, it feels like. It's like something that you really want to take control of. And maybe also recognizing where to let go of control. Because it seems like something's coming to an end as well with the Ten of Swords and the Death card. But something that you're definitely manifesting. Maybe you're also recognizing that in order to manifest something that you want, there's something else that needs to be completed, and it may be harder to break away from this thing, but you know that in order to have this other thing that you want, something has to come to an end. So it's like this compromise that you're deciding to make here. Yeah, so you can make a plan of where you're trying to go. Okay. You know, too, that this is something that's going to take some time to figure out for you. I'm kind of seeing it be like somebody planning out a trip, metaphorically speaking, maybe literally for you, a trip that they're trying to take, and it's like you're drawing on the map like the route that you're going to be taking and what you need here and like how much gas you need and how much money you need to allot for that. So it's like this whole thing that's coming together now, because there's a sense of like being at a crossroads, and maybe it's about doing things the way that you had been doing them and maybe feeling less satisfied than if you go about doing things in a new way and maybe exploring that new way for yourself. It feels too like part of you is letting go of something that maybe your ego felt satisfied. It was like maybe an area of your life where you had been like maybe trying to control things that when you look at it, you're like, you know what, I just want to kind of be uninvolved in that, or I don't feel the need to like even impress my authority on this person or that situation. And there's a sense of even taking a step back from that. It feels like a reevaluation that's happening when it comes to like what you're involving yourself in and what you're engaging in and what you want to step back from. Like what do you feel is no longer your business to be involved in, or what do you feel like energetically you don't want to be participating in anymore? And where can you channel that energy? Like what other routes can you be channeling that energy into? So it feels like a very big shift that's happening here, Gemini. I'm looking at Libra, the Moon, Scorpio, Mercury, Neptune. You could have also jumped into things because, like, impulsively you were like, I can do this, or, like, doing things without really thinking about it, or even committing to things without thinking about it. It's like maybe you recognize that you were taking on too many things and it wasn't allowing you to explore something that you wanted to explore, and so this is something that may be being reevaluated too. Because as much as the Knight of Wands can talk about like jumping in and out of relationships and being impulsive in that way, or like wanting to not commit to things because you just want to have fun, there's a sense of that impulsivity also being able to resonate like beyond just our interpersonal relationships, where it's like maybe you were doing something and you weren't really thinking about it, and you were again committing to engaging in all of these things, and you're like, in thinking about it, it's not the outcome that you wanted, or like long term it's not something that you want to be involved in. And now there's a sense of I'm hearing reprising, I'm hearing that specifically, and like figuring out where you want to go now. Ooh, and the Fool. Yeah, you may be starting something completely new in some specific area of your life. I'm looking at the Hierophant, I'm seeing a tower, and I'm seeing the Nine of Swords. you could feel like something happened and it happened very unexpectedly, and maybe you're trying to figure out the deeper meaning behind this and to understand it. I'm seeing you very much be protected through this change right now with the Hierophant right next to the Tower. Like maybe leaning on your belief system or your faith, or like some community where you find support is going to be most helpful to you at this time as you're going through a big change. I'm also hearing shuffling. There's a shuffling that's happening. This can even mean karmically something is going on. It feels like something when it first happened. When it first happens, it feels kind of shocking and maybe upsetting because of, I'm hearing disturbing, because of how abnormal it is. It's like this can be a moment where you kind of feel like your world flips upside down. And right now there's a sense of trying to come to a place of adjusting to what's going on here. For some of you, this can even be like some sort of awakening that you're experiencing, and it may be quite a jarring experience, and because of how abrupt it feels, you may feel extremely uncomfortable within that state. It's like really trying to find your stability. And I'm seeing like grounding is going to be very important when this happens. For some of you, you can be experiencing this right now. It's like something that definitely throws you for a loop. Yeah, you could have experienced something that you just feel straight up isn't fair. It's like maybe somebody deceived you in some sort of way. This can even be the fear too. Because sometimes when we go through experiences that feel very ungrounding, where like our reality is flipped around, there's a sense of feeling very much like we need to protect ourselves because we feel unsafe. So right now is about doing whatever it is that you need to do in order to create a safe environment for yourself so you can feel steadied within that. And that differs for each of us. It's whatever would resonate for you so you can feel like you can actually breathe. Because I'm seeing an intensity here where it's like maybe you feel like you don't know where to go or where to look, and there's a sense of like wanting to find that stability for yourself. And maybe you feel like your mental health has been affected too with the Nine of Swords by whatever surprise this is or shaking up that's happening with the Tower. I'm hearing church specifically. That may be for someone. It looks like this is related to job, finances, or a masculine figure in your life that also has to do with your finances or your home. This can even be you in your job position, or it can be a boss, a company, something like that. What this feels like to me is that you are being guided through a very delicate process right now. And you're being asked to trust the universe and to call on your guides if you need assistance, as this may be something that you were feeling somewhat unprepared for. However, this is about dropping like suspicions and an unwillingness to like be transparent and honest with yourself, maybe with people around you, and to just go with the flow of how things are happening, even if they're not what you wanted to happen, or it's like an unwanted outcome. At least it may feel like that right now. But you may be recognizing after the fact that this was something absolutely necessary, even if in the moment it does not feel like that at all. This could even mean to like some sort of title or position or identity that you had is going to be changing. There may even be like a separation from like the ego, or again, like some title or identity or persona that you had been attached to. And now there's a sense of separation that's happening, all for your betterment, all for your growth. Because it feels like you are going to emerge from this situation feeling more authentically like yourself. So definitely a bit of a shedding process. You also could have been like leaning on a foundation that was not built upon, it was like a crack in the foundation of what was stacking up, and so it needed to come down so it could be rebuilt. And that's what we see with the Tower. And this can even be a belief system, so many different things. It can be a community for some. And as I said before, I was hearing church, like this can have to do with your religion or a group even that you're associated with. A community of people even. And maybe a surprise when it comes to like someone even that you put your confidence in or looked up to. Some news that you weren't expecting, or just something that really throws you off. And maybe you feel like your confidence was knocked or affected by this. It's like at one point in time you really resonated with this, and now maybe it's something that you feel like you are in your shadow if you're associating with it, and so it's something that you're letting go of. It kind of seems like this experience is going to change the way that you even like look at yourself, and also how you want to express and represent yourself as well. I'm looking at Taurus and Mars here. Okay, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.